And then the Mainz, Leipzig. It's funny because the moment that we say, okay, Leipzig's on a little skid, they come out and they do this. Um, Timo loves to play against Mainz apparently. That's it was at 13-0. I tweeted it at 12, and then they scored another one. 13-0 on the season for them. First one was even worse, the 8-0, and then it's 5-0. So um, clearly, like beating the snot out of Mainz. um, Timo Werner. Let's touch on that just for a second. We can also talk about the team performance because it's not just Timo, but there's been a lot of talk about Timo. Very polarizing player. The news this week, though, is that Liverpool has pulled out. They're not going to make that bid to purchase him. And it seemed like after the falling out with Bayern, he had his heart set on joining up with Klopp. Haven't heard much about any other suitors. So, one can maybe think that he stays a little bit longer at Leipzig. Want to get y'all's thoughts on that. Do you think ultimately that will be good for him, to stay a little bit longer, continue to develop there? I mean, he's thriving there. And then maybe Bayern down the road. I mean, we talked about Kai, maybe team up. What's your thoughts on all that?
What do you think, Paul?
I think that his drive at RB may or may not take a hit if they end up getting third or second. Point, pretty much, I don't see them snatching the championship. I'm just thinking of like what are his goal mindsets basically each season. So it depends on like what he thinks, where he thinks he can bring in his team season by season, in my opinion.
Actually, I hadn't thought about that because I mean, where they're sitting right now, and don't want to give spoiler alerts as far as the next fixture, but they are. I mean, they're on the verge of that Champions League spot. I mean, I think just a few weeks ago we would have said, okay, yeah, they're going to be top two, top three, but the teams around them really have turned it up a gear, and then we've seen some weird stuff with the teams up there starting to struggle a little bit. So I mean, it does bring up a really good point. Is that if Leipzig the unspeakable happens and they fail to clinch a Champions League spot, you got to think that's a blow to Timo. This is a team that really should be competing for the championship, let alone Europe spots. So, yeah, that is an interesting factor to throw in there. But I think the whole COVID environment is going to come into play too, where RB is going to, they're going to expect that release clause. I mean, they know what he's capable of, and I think the release is honestly low, for what his ceiling can be.
I think he needs to stay. They have such a talented squad built around him. A lot of guys that they really want to be able to keep. Patrick Schick and Helinho, guys that play well with him. He's in an environment where he can be the star, but there's not, an enormous amount of pressure on him when he isn't scoring. And where are you going to find a coach that's more willing to put in the effort for you and develop you and is just a brilliant footballing mind than Nagelsmann?
Got one. Hansi Flick. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
You there.
I think he should totally stay. I mean, we've seen that they're having success in Europe. We obviously don't know how that's going to play out yet, but they are through after the beating of Tottenham, and he looked good. That whole team looked good. So if I'm RB, if I'm the board there, I'm not letting him leave if I can help it. We're building this team around him. The pieces that are there, you've put in the effort. You try to keep that back line they have intact, those young Frenchmen, and then the Germans that you have in Hulsenberg and Klosterman, and then Angelino out wide as well to help out. You got Sabitzer and all those guys, and then yeah, and Kuku's just incredible. They got, yeah, Like,
We said it's only the momentum. I think if this team can stay the course, and I think that's just going to come with time, as they continue to develop and um, get better, they'll be dangerous.
yeah, absolutely.